Hello, everyone. It's Mr. Nobody, and I'm bringing you a very short and simple movie review. Now, for those of you who don't know this, I have been watching a lot of Hallmark movies recently with my wife. She finally got tired of the lack of offerings or offerings she didn't enjoy from the modern rom-com market, and she still wanted something fun and relaxing to watch at night. So we've been watching all kinds of made-for-TV romance movies, at least a third of which are Christmas movies, because that apparently, as I found out, is the high season for those sorts of movies. Today I want to bring you a very short review of one of them called Mistletoe Mixup. If you've seen some other made-for-TV movies, you'll probably recognize some faces in this movie. I'm pretty sure I recognize the main character from another movie about a lady who goes to Amish country and stays in this Amish boarding house and falls in love with this giant hunky guy who looks like Chris Hemsworth but has no discernible character or personality except that he's just been waiting for the female protagonist to come along, which I found a very amusing movie for many reasons. This one is actually surprisingly well written. I would say that Mistletoe Mix-Up is wide release quality, and I don't mean wide release today. I mean like 5, 10 years ago when people still released romantic comedies. And that's one of the surprising things about this movie is I would say it was genuinely entertaining and genuinely amusing. It was actually funny. It trades a little less on the romantic stereotypes and somewhat formulaic plot points that you tend to get from these movies. Not that I'm complaining about that. Sometimes it's rather amusing to see how they just go through those same plot points again and again. This one is unusual because it has the Lawrence family in it, like Joey Lawrence, like whoa, whoa, that Joey Lawrence. He's all grown up. Brotherly love. He was on a show with his two brothers. Well, all three brothers are in this movie playing brothers, and also their mother is in the movie playing their grandmother. And she is just a hoot. All four of them have a very similar acting style. They've got great chemistry with each other. It's kind of like you took a 90s goofy family comedy and a Hallmark romance movie and just squished the two together into one little package. And the romantic side of it is just fine. It's perfectly fine and serviceable and likable. It's a very nicely shot movie. But at the same time, the movie, for me, really got going and took a different turn when all of a sudden it crashed into these brothers because the main character, just so you know, accidentally sort of um, starts dating both of the brothers at the same time. There's a little bit of confusion that gets involved, of course. Some of it has to do with Christmas wishes, which are granted by a magical elf whose character name in the credits is Magical Elf. And if you've spent any time watching these made for TV movies, you will know that Santa and magic are both entirely real. In fact, I just watched a one of these movies a few days ago in which the character who was a guy who was playing the Santa in this festival was actually the real Santa. Um, these sorts of things happen, in these sorts of stories. Anyway, as a result of her wishing for two Mr. Rights, she finds herself caught between a choice between two sorts of brothers, very different approaches. But a lot of the fun of the movie actually comes from the personal dynamics between the brothers and the family as a whole. The way that they compete with each other, the way that they struggle with each other, the issues they have with each other, and a lot of the character moments, and actually, in many ways, the biggest emotional resolution is internal to that family. It's where the brothers learn to understand each other, open up, and learn to want the best for each other. Harmony returns to their family. They come to an understanding, which is actually good character work. It's like classic sitcom stuff from the sorts of show that they used to do. And you know what? It's just as much fun to watch as it was back in the 90s. It made me miss those silly, goofy 90s shows. And it's funny to see that these guys who now range from like late 30s to mid to late 40s, still have that same chemistry and that same energy. They still are doing the same teasing of each other and giving each other noogies and pushing each other around and engaging the same slapstick antics. And it just made me kind of miss those sorts of shows. And so for me, it was fun. Just on that side to see it, and also their mother is a whole lot of fun as the grandma. She's very silly. That was when I realized, oh, this movie isn't going to be what I expect. This movie is kind of going to be sort of silly. It's not going to take itself that seriously. It's going to have fun with its premise. It's actually going to have fun with its characters. And I think you should always have that attitude when you go into these made for TV movies. Don't take them so seriously. They're there to have fun. They're there to play around. They're there to be a little indulgent. And in the case of this movie, it's there to be a little silly. And so when strange, unusual, maybe even unbelievable things happen in the plot, it's fine and you accept it because the movie doesn't take it seriously. It plays those things for laughs. It plays it for the absurdity. And in the end, you just get a nice, fun, lighthearted, you know, fairly straightforward sort of romance. There's no huge obstacle to, the main female character getting together with these guys. They're actually both decent guys. The big obstacle is actually this interfamily tension. That's the big obstacle. The big obstacle is this conflict and misunderstanding, competitiveness that exists between those brothers. And that is the thing that has to be solved before the plot can move to its resolution and everyone, gets to live happily ever after. I thought it was actually a lot of fun. It's the sort of movie like I would watch it again. I would even recommend it to other people. With a lot of these sorts of movies, I'd say, well, watch it if you feel in the need for something like that, if that is something that you enjoy, but it's not like, oh, go seek it out. But I would say this, it's almost at the level of really being worthy of being included in the rank of, middle tier, decent wide release romantic comedies. So, if you are looking for a newer movie, something that you haven't seen before, also something that's free if you have Amazon Prime, you can see it on Amazon Prime. If you are looking for a vaguely Christmas themed movie, because it does take place at Christmas, as so many of these stories do, in a beautiful location, filmed in Utah. And you can tell, being from Colorado myself and having a sister who lives in Utah, you can just tell you, like, yeah, that was definitely filmed on location. Uh, in fact, my only serious complaint about the movie is that when they go skiing and the main character claims not to have skied in a really long time, and then she actually gets on the slope and skis, she skis aggressively. She skis like the sort of people you'd see at like Aspen Highlands or something. She clearly an aggressive, extremely talented downhill skier. So I would say that's just a point of character inconsistency. If you're going to say that someone is not a great skier, why then actually show them to be an amazing skier? Do one or the other. Either get some humor from the fact that she actually hasn't done it and is having a hard time and get some amusement out of the stuff that happens on the slopes, or just have her rent the equipment and go skiing and have it go exactly the way that it goes without introducing that plot element. Anyway, if you can get past somehow the discrepancy between the declared and apparent levels of skiing skill, I think you might be able to relax and enjoy this movie. That's all for today. We'll see you next time.